Cheers, everyone. In this episode, we have one modder who just nuked 40 VR games, deleted them all, 4 years of work, gone. All while another one has been quietly converting hundreds of games to VR for free. Let's get into it. For 9 years, Luke Ross has been converting AAA games to VR. Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Red Dead Redemption 2. These weren't amateur ports either. Ross built his own rendering framework, Alternate Eye Rendering V2 with DLSS integration, as well as ray reconstruction for VR. Technical work that would cost studios a lot of money to do in-house. 4 years ago, his Cyberpunk VR mod launched, Night City in full immersion. And a lot of people bought Cyberpunk just to play this mod. CD Projekt Red, in the meanwhile, said nothing. 4 years, they were silent. But that changed. January 9th of this year, when they issued a DMCA takedown. What was Luke's response? He deleted the mod from Patreon with no warning. So what's the problem? Well, Ross charged $10 a month for access to this. And CD Projekt's position when they issued this was, look, we love mods, make it free, you're fine. Charge money? Well, that's our IP. Simple solution, you'd think, right? Make it free, take donations, problem solved. Only Ross refused. His argument is that the REAL framework is his software. It just works with their games. He's not copying their assets, and you still need to own the game to use it. So here's where it gets messy. Take-Two DMCA'd his completely free GTA mod back in July of 2022. So even going free doesn't necessarily guarantee safety. That's going to be heavily publisher and developer dependent. Then on January the 23rd of this month, 14 days later, 505 Games hits him for Ghost Runner, his second DMCA in just 2 weeks. CD Projekt only demanded he remove Cyberpunk, and 505 only wanted Ghost Runner gone. But Ross sees a pattern forming. 2 DMCAs in 2 weeks. How many more publishers are watching? So he makes what he feels, and that's the important thing to consider here, what he feels is a strategic call and pulls everything, all 40 mods, Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, Hogwarts Legacy, etc., making unavailable all versions of the mods so there will be no ground to further claims. That's his statement. Nobody asked him to delete anything other than the aforementioned. This is Ross, let's be clear, going scorched earth to prevent future attacks, which kind of is his right. However, what was the VR community response to this? Well, it exploded. Half-sided with Ross, calling it corporate greed-crushing passionate creators. The other half, dude, they gave you the solution. Just make it free. Only the pirates showed up. And his mods suddenly are leaked everywhere. The exact opposite outcome that he was trying to prevent. The worst timing possible, considering in the last video we talked about Meta just shutting down 3 VR studios that same week. But hold on. While Ross was burning bridges, another modder was quietly doing something completely different. His name, Preydog. And on December the 31st of 2023, he releases UEVR, which is the Universal Unreal Engine VR mod. Not only releases it completely, but it's free, and it's open source on GitHub. Anybody can use it, modify it, distribute it, and it unlocks not 40 games, but hundreds of games, potentially thousands of games. It works with any Unreal Engine game from version 4.8 onwards. The community's tested over 700 titles so far. Hogwarts Legacy, that game that Luke Ross had available, it works. Black Myth Wukong, Hellblade 2, Tekken 8, Satisfactory, the Arkham series, Star Wars Jedi games, Mass Effect, they all work. And here's how it works. UEVR doesn't inject rendering, it forces Unreal Engine to use already built-in VR capabilities that most developers never activate, which, come on, that's a story for a whole other video, right? It hooks the camera, player controllers, weapons, native stereo rendering, room scale in most games, offering 3 rendering modes: native stereo, synchronized sequential, or alternating AFR to handle different game quirks. The community went insane. Over 700 games tested. People even built an app that scans your Steam library, identifies Unreal Engine games, shows compatibility ratings, and then launches them straight into VR. Community created profiles that optimize specific games, shared free on Discord, and constantly being refined, always improving. What about motion controls? Well, optional in many games, some modders have even added full 6 degree of freedom controller support through plugins. Everything, again, shared freely. So what's his business model? What separates PreyDog from Luke Ross? Well, he does have a Patreon as well, but it's optional support. There's no locked content, no subscription requirement, just if this helps you, here's how to support development. He's been working full-time on UEVR for over 2 years now. The project's expanding. It's not shrinking. The community is growing. It's not fracturing. 0 DMCA notices. See the pattern? For Ross, who has a proprietary framework, paid subscription, 40 games, legal warfare, a divided community, versus PreyDog's situation with UEVR, which is open source, optional donations, hundreds of games, publisher-friendly, at least to this point, and a united community, both solving the same problem with opposite approaches and, as stated, opposite results. Here's the kicker. GTA 5 in 2020, free on GitHub, receiving 200,000 downloads. It built his initial reputation for giving work away. Then came the move to Patreon, where everything became locked behind a subscription, i.e. paywall. Then came the DMCAs. Meanwhile, PreyDog's approach has been to release UEVR as open source on day one, trust the community, build in public. These are different philosophies, different approaches with different outcomes. Now, I get it. Ross has some legitimate points. Ultimately, this is his work. His framework represents serious technical achievement. I get that. Months of development, work that he feels and others would agree probably deserve some compensation. Reasonable donations is pretty arbitrary. Who decides what's reasonable? If Cyberpunk VR took him months to perfect, is 50 grand unreasonable? That's still nothing compared to what CD Projekt would spend on an official port. And yep, Take-Two DMCA'd his free stuff anyway, so going free doesn't guarantee safety. But given the overall number of games available, it does seem like a better approach. Now, he is right, Luke Ross, that DMCA gives corporations massive power. One letter from a legal department and Patreon compliance is pretty much automatic. But he's wrong about the solution. UEVR has essentially proved that by being free, open, and community-driven. The donation model works. PreyDog's doing it. Dozens of successful modders do it. Ross himself proved it works with GTA 5 when he had those 200,000 downloads, when it was free. And that's not an academic comparison. Same week that Ross pulled his mods, Meta shut down those 3 VR studios. Ready at Dawn, Armature Studios, Twisted Pixel, all gone. We're in a time where VR's market is shrinking. Publishers don't seem to want to invest, and it drives me absolutely to distraction that these guys aren't working closer with studios to create this VR content. It absolutely drives me to distraction. But hardware's advancing, and it seems like software is falling behind. So we've got that hardware component, but the software not keeping up with it. And now with studios closing, we need every high-quality VR experience that we can get our hands on. Ross built something remarkable over these 9 years, like real technical innovation. Those are 40 AAA games, and there was a community built around that. And he's choosing to delete it rather than adapt. Now, I don't necessarily think publishers are the enemy here. They're protecting their IP the way corporations always do. Now, there are varying degrees of that, right? The Nintendo way of doing it versus how some others do it. Like, you look back at CD Projekt, all in all, that was a pretty mild response, just requesting it be free compared to what Nintendo would do. They would never go down that path, right? Essentially, they said, make it free, we're cool with it. Ross's Patreon was reportedly making over $20,000 a month at its peak. That's not nothing, but that revenue came from a community that wanted to support him. Now they have no access, and future updates could make the majority of those 40 games unplayable. His fans seem to want to pay him, they just can't do it when his entire platform is now suspended and his mods are nuked. The defensive nuclear option, it's protection against future DMCAs, but it's also burning the bridges that he spent 9 years building. He says he's looking for solutions. Personally, at this point, I don't really think he has anything to lose by going free with this. And I can see the backlash as much as I get the work that he's put into this. VR, though, and that's the bottom line for most of us, right? As VR enthusiasts, we can't afford to lose both. We need Ross's technical expertise and we need Prey Dog's open philosophy. But if I'm betting on VR's future, I'm betting on a model that gives people access, that trusts the community, that builds with open hands, avoids corporate legal departments, and actually sustains development. And that seems to be UEVR's model. It's working. As a result, I would urge Luke to make it free. So that's my take, guys. I'm interested in what your take is. What do you guys think about all of this? What do you think Luke should do? Is he within his right? Should he restore it for free? Drop your take in the comments, guys. If you like this video, hit that like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe. This is a VR topic that I think affects all of us, particularly so, like I said, with the closure of those 3 studios. So really interested in your comments. Guys, as always, until the next episode, cheers.